Okay, guys, so today we will discuss chapter number 6. Chapter 6 is about network security fundamentals, and we have two main things to discuss in the chapter number 6. Firstly, we'll talk about different type of attackers and which kind of tools they can use to penetrate a network, like for network security attacks. Then we will discuss malware, types of malware, and different type of network attacks will be discussed. So starting with our first agenda item, the types of attackers and their tools. So there are three terms that we will use over and over, and the first term is called risk. Risk is something bad might happen. It's basically the probability, or you can say likelihood, that something bad might happen. So risk is likelihood that something bad might happen. This is called risk. Second is threat. Threat is basically any action that can damage your assets. For example, a security attack. It's basically a threat. So any action that can damage assets is called threat. Vulnerability is basically a loophole, pitfall through which, or you can say a weakness maybe, through which system can be compromised, or you can say through which attack can be executed. So vulnerability is a loophole, or you can say it's basically a pitfall through which systems can be compromised or systems can be hacked. That's basically called vulnerability. So who are the attacker who actually execute attack? And I hope you guys are already familiar with different types of attacks. White hat hackers, also known as ethical hackers. Ethical hackers or pen testers as well, penetration testers. What exactly they do? They find vulnerabilities and report to concerned people. So basically they are hired by companies, to find vulnerabilities. So what exactly these white attackers, what they do? They have a legal agreement with the companies. They find vulnerabilities and report to the companies like, hey, we find these vulnerabilities, or you can say these are the pitfalls through which you can be hacked. That's basically what the white hat hackers, what they do. Then we have black hat hackers. They perform illegal activities. Specifically, the motivation is basically monetary benefits most of the time. But what they do, they find vulnerabilities and exploit them. Okay, hack the websites and all that stuff. Then we have gray hat hackers. Gray hat hackers are usually insiders. Usually they are insiders. What they do, they pretend to be a white hat hacker, but having some hostile intentions, or like the black hat hacker kind of stuff. So they're usually insiders. Sometimes they are also known as vulnerability brokers, bug bounty hunters. So they are the vulnerability brokers. They find vulnerabilities. Again, they find vulnerabilities for some rewards. Like they find vulnerabilities and then reach out to vendors, hey, we found these vulnerabilities, even though they don't have any kind of legal agreement, but they actually use a couple of scanning tool, vulnerability assessment tool, find vulnerabilities, and then reach out to vendors and let them know we found these vulnerabilities. And then, they expect a reward as well. Script kiddies, as you already familiar with this term, amateur hackers, having less hacking knowledge, and use the scripts written by pro hacker, professional hacker, and they don't know what is basically inside that code. But they know how to trick the people. Like they are good at social engineering. Sometimes they are basically good at using of the tool. So they know how to use tool, but they don't know how to write a script. Okay, how to actually go for the new kind of things. Then hacktivist. Hacktivists are basically the people. They are basically socially motivated people. Socially motivated people, and they do hacking for social cause. So they do hacking for social cause. Like for example, sometime just to expose a scam, maybe expose a scam, for example, just to expose some injustice, stuff like that. That's basically what the hacktivists they do. It's the combination of two words, hacker and activist. So it's basically they do the activism using hacking skills. Then the security tools. Security tools are basically, I mean, these are most of the security. We will cover most of the security tools here that hackers they use. They use for vulnerability assessment, for exploitation, for example, to find to actually crack password and stuff like that. So one of the tool is the password crackers. One of the tools are password cracker tools. There are plenty of password cracker tools where hackers they guess the password. So most of the password cracking tools are basically password guessing tools. If you guys already familiar with the hash functions, if you remember, the passwords are not stored in the plain text form. So let's say even in your Windows computer, password is not stored in a plain text form. So if let's say if you set up your password in your Microsoft Windows computer, let's say your password is Alice. You know what? Your computer will use a hash algorithm. In Windows, we use NTLM. This is a hash algorithm. And then they will calculate a hash value for the password, let's say Alice. And hash value could be, let's say, XYZ10123, something like that. Ambiguous kind of value. Now, what is the benefit for this hash value? If anybody got your hash value, they cannot retrieve the password out of the hash value. So hash functions are irreversible, and that's basically most of the password cracking tools. They just guess your password by using dictionary, rainbow attack, and all that stuff. We will discuss that in our upcoming chapters. So there are plenty of password cracking tools like OPH crack. These are absolutely free tool. OPH crack is absolutely free. John the Ripper. This is absolutely free. PPA, it's proactive password auditor. There are many tools that you can find. Most of these tools, they offer few functions, a few models, like which particular model you want to use to crack the password. For example, one of the model is rainbow tables. Rainbow tables, where they actually use pre-computed hashes and try to find the password out of those hashes. Then there's a model which is called dictionary attack, very well-known model. In dictionary attack model, attacker uses his or her word list and try to guess the password out of that dictionary. Another model is called the brute force attack model. Brute force model. So brute force model is basically where attacker try all possible combination. Success rate of brute force attack model is 100%, but you never know how long it may take to get the password. Then there are many network scanning tool. In network scanning tool, most of these network scanning tools are also known as port scanners. Port scanners, they scan or look for status of the ports, or you can call it services. One of the most widely used tool is Nmap. The most widely used tool is Nmap, standardized tool to find open or close port. Or you can say basically the host computer's open or close port. Then the packet crafting tool. Packet crafting tools are mainly used to trick the firewall. For example, let me explain to you. For example, this is your firewall. And let's say this firewall, and you have blocked ICMP protocol. ICMP mean the internet control messaging protocol, like ping packet trace route. So you have blocked ICMP protocol. What does it mean? Let's say this is your website. Nobody can send a ping packet to your website. So we do it to avoid the DOS attack, denial of service attack, by using few tools. Like there is a tool which is called hping. There is a tool which is basically nmap, of course. Nmap, what they do, they actually manipulate the packet. They craft the packet and it looks like, I mean, even though it's basically a ping packet, but it is encapsulated in a TCP packet, maybe in a TCP or some other packet, because ping packet is a UDP packet. So they encapsulate the ping packet into TCP packet that firewall allow them. So this is called packet crafting tools. Packet sniffers or protocol analyzer to sniff the traffic. Wireshark is the most widely used tool, which you might have used in the lab. Dsniff, that's another tool to sniff the packets, or sniff the traffic over the network. Forensics tools, we use forensics tools to track down the attack by using the traces or evidence. So mainly we gather evidence. These are evidence gathering tools. Most widely used forensics tool is autopsy, sleuth kit. We will use that autopsy tools in our next chapter. Debuggers are basically the tools which we use for reverse engineering. And mostly the debugger tools are like one of the debugger tool is basically Uniscan. Another tool is basically which allow you man in the middle attack, and that's the ettercap. So there are plenty of tools through which you can do the reverse engineering. Hacking operating system, most widely used tool is Metasploit, okay, which basically run plenty of other script. Vulnerability assessment and exploitation. For finding vulnerability, most widely used tool is OpenVAS. Another tool is the Arachne, Z attack proxy. Another tool is the which is for exploitation as well. After finding vulnerabilities, we use as exploitation. This is called BEEF. BEEF stands for browser exploitation framework. It's kind of a phishing tool, in fact, but it's basically exploit the vulnerabilities of browser. So these are some of the tools that our book has discussed, and we will use a couple of tools. Like we will use Wireshark, we'll use hping, nmap. We already have used that. For OPH crack, for the password cracking, we will use that. Autopsy and sleuthkit will use that. Uniscam have already used with my face-to-face class. For online class, I'll post a video for you guys. Metasploit, we will use that. OpenVAS, Arachne, Z attack proxy, and BEEF. We will use all these tools in our labs. Let's move to the section 2, which is the malware and network security attacks. So malware, as name suggests, malware. So the full form for malware is malicious software. So if you see, mal is taken from malicious, ware is taken from software. So any software or a program that does which do these following things, like which can damage assets, which can steals or modifies information without author's knowledge, which can discloses the classified information, classified info, which can allow you unauthorized access. So any software which can do this thing, these four main activities, is called a malicious software, or you can call it malware. There are many types of malware. Some of the type have been discussed in our book, like virus, worms, trojans, rootkit, spyware. These are 5 main typical type of malware. Virus is basically it's a piece of destructive program that attaches itself with a program file. So basically, virus, what it does, like after entering in your computer, it basically, firstly, let's say this is a Microsoft Word file. So virus will attach itself at the bottom, or maybe like in the middle, or maybe split itself into different parts. So it attach itself with a program file, and then this particular file is infected file. Then whenever any user open this particular file, virus will get triggered. So there are a few things about virus. Number one, virus cannot trigger itself. So even though if you receive this file with a virus, if you don't open that file, so you will not get the virus, or your computer will not be affected. But when you open the file, virus can get triggered. Virus cannot replicate itself independently. It can replicate itself by attaching to another file, and that file can be, let's say, you can spread it out via email and all that stuff. So it can replicate itself by attaching to other files, and then that file has to be passed, like, again, it requires a human intervention in order to get it trigger, in order to get it propagate as well. Worms, as some of you guys might heard of worms are basically self-contained program. Okay, these are self-contained program that can replicate independently, replicate themselves independently without human intervention. They don't need any human intervention in order to get them triggered, in order to get them propagated. Some of the worms, like, I'd really want everybody to please look at those worms. Like for MySpace, there was a social media platform. Some of you guys might have used MySpace. So there was an attack which is called semi-worm. So please look for that semi-worm. Another worm was Conflicker. Shadow brokers, hackers, shadow brokers, they actually came up with a worm, ransomware cry, WannaCry ransomware attack. These are basically some examples of worms. So these worms, what they do, once they enter in one computer, there is a never-ending loop. They can propagate themselves over and over the network. So let's say this is basically a network. Okay, so if one of the computer got a worm, it will spread over across all the network. That's basically the difference of virus and worm. Virus cannot replicate itself, but worm, they can replicate themselves. Please Google it. You will see the cross-site scripting code for semi-worm. It's available now. You can actually check it out. Trojans are basically Trojan appears to be something useful, but hides malicious code. Okay, so they basically pretend themselves something useful, but having some hostile intentions. That's basically what a Trojan is. And sometimes Trojans arrive through the you can say arrive with the free software, movies, games. Okay, so you might download a free game, you are playing a free game, but on the back end, Trojan might open ports in your computer, turn off your firewall to let the bad traffic in. That's the ultimate target of the Trojan is. Spyware are basically they monitor the activities of remote computer and sends alerts to the attacker. That's basically what a spyware is. Spyware basically like keyloggers, keystroke loggers. These are the spyware. If you want to practice any spyware, there is a kid logger. You can actually put that software in your computer just to see how exactly it works. It's absolutely free. You can download it. Just Google it, kid logger, and you can try by your own. But don't install kid logger on someone's computer. That's a criminal offense. Then we have rootkits. Rootkits basically, there are two things. After entering into your computer, they hide themselves within operating system files. And whenever you trigger the computer, they automatically get triggered. Other than that, rootkits, what they do, they try to gain privileged access to a device while considering device. So main idea is basically they also hides existence of other malware as well. So if you have any other malware, so rootkit will try to actually conceal it, so it cannot be detected by antivirus. If you have a rootkit in your computer, trust me, you can never get rid of it. And if you want to see whether there is a rootkit in my Linux machine or not, so there's a command, check rootkits. I think we already talked about rootkits, so then the last topic is the types of network attacks. One of the network attack is called reconnaissance. Reconnaissance is not basically a attack. In fact, it's basically information. The process of information gathering. So information gathering about a target. It's called reconnaissance. Now, reconnaissance can be of two types. It could be passive or it could be active. In passive reconnaissance, we don't engage our target. Like we collect the information through the internet. Like whatever is basically available about that target over internet, we collect that information by using Whois, website informers, stuff like that. In active, we engage the target. We engage target. Like for example, if you want to find more specific information like the operating system, you want to find the ports and port status, so we need to actually engage it. So active, the passive reconnaissance is called footprinting. Active reconnaissance is called fingerprinting. Then the second type of attack is access attack, where attackers they try to get unauthorized access. So attacker, they try to find vulnerabilities. They try to find vulnerabilities of FTP server, their web server, their authentication server. So they try to find the vulnerabilities of these particular servers, and then they penetrate to the system. They gain access to the system, retrieve the data, and all that stuff. Okay. Then third type of network attack is the social engineering attacks. Social engineering attacks are like phishing. Phishing is basically tricking people over email. Like people that send you email and try to find your classified information. Like, for example, there are many ways, like the Prince of Nigeria and all that kind of chaining email which you might heard of. Farming is basically where attackers, the farming is a type of phishing where attackers crafts a website, a fraudulent website, real looking fake website. Real looking fake website attacker, they craft a website, real looking fake website, and then redirect the users to that website, that site, to get their credentials or their classified information. Phishing is tricking the people over phone. Tricking people over phone. That is called phishing. Dumpster diving, where people they actually collect information from unshredded pages. So there are many other ways to do the social engineering. DOS attack is the last network attack. DOS attack is the attack on your availability. In the DOS attack, there are a few things to understand. In DOS attack, for example, let's say this is a website. Let's say that's the website. Now, for example, this is attacker. Attacker wants to actually, let's say attacker want to hack this website. For example, attacker couldn't hack the website. So what attacker will try to do? Attacker try to actually make it unavailable for legitimate user. So there might be some financial loss. So for example, if this website is running on a typical server which can handle 3 to 4,000 queries per second, it means 3 to 4,000 people, they can access this website in 1 second. Simultaneously, 3 to 4,000 people, then they can visit the website. Let's say attacker start pushing 5,000 queries per second. So in 1 second, if attacker is pushing 5,000 queries, what will happen? This website will freeze, or you need to restart your server maybe, because you are overwhelming a server. Okay, so what is DOS attack? DOS attack is where attacker overwhelm a computer with excessive queries. So attacker overwhelm a computer with excessive query to prevent legitimate users from gaining access. So the main idea is to make it unavailable for legitimate user. That's the DOS attack. Now, how we can avoid it? There's plenty of ways. We can actually put the IP address of this attacker in our firewall, block this IP address, or we can actually put a cap, like one user can send one query in 1 second. Like, why a person has to visit, like has to access or send queries to my computer 5,000 in 1 second? So that's basically the way how we can avoid that. So, but attackers, they are one step ahead, and they came up with another attack which is called DDoS attack, distributed denial of service attack. In distributed denial of service attack, if you distribute the attack on multiple nodes, like rather than attack is coming from one node. So just imagine if attacker found 5,000 computers and all these computers reach out to the website simultaneously. Now what will happen again? Same DOS attack. So if we use multiple nodes to launch DOS attack, it is called DDoS attack. But the thing is, if an attacker can afford 5,000 computers, why he's doing the hacking and all that stuff? Like maybe 10,000 or 1 million computer, if attacker own that, why attacker has to, do all these stupid things? So attackers, they use botnet. So attackers, they use botnet, or you can call it attacker use zombie computers to launch DOS attack. So what is basically a zombie computer? Zombie computer is basically computer controlled by hacker. So it could be your computer, it could be my computer, even anyone's computer. So attackers, how they find the computers, how they find the zombie computers. So let's say the attacker can set up a website, maybe a gaming website. They make you visit here. When you visit the website, they can scan your computer's software, firewall, and all that. If they find a vulnerability of your computer, they will install an agent, and then they can use your computer as a zombie computer. So attacker can have many zombies, like maybe 1 million zombie computer. So these network of zombie computers are called botnet. Okay. So that's it about our chapter number 6. If anybody has any questions, if you guys will have any questions, then please do let me know. Thank you very much.